have you ever felt any kind of fear? Any kind of fear in your life? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, what kind of fears have you faced? Can I get some ideas? What kind of fears? Give me any example. You are afraid of doing something? Ever?
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure in what? Give me something specific. Anything? Exams. Okay. Thank God somebody said that. Alright? So fear of exams. I remember when I was in school, a lot of students were afraid of one subject called history. Were you ever afraid of history? Were you ever afraid of mathematics? No. Okay. I'm in the wrong class to ask that questions. I think if I go to an arts class and ask, were you afraid of history? They would kill me. But if I would say, were you afraid of mathematics? Yes. So everybody is afraid of something or the other. But this boy that I'm talking about, he was in college like you are right now. And in all the years, during the years when he was in college, he was afraid of one thing. Afraid of talking to people. And most importantly, afraid of talking to others. See, you know. Alright, so how many of you have that fear? Alright, I see a lot of hands here. All the words are the same, but the together. Alright. Okay. So this boy, he was in college, so he was not doing an engineering course, so he was doing a general course. And in 3 years, you're aware, right? General course in 3 years. In 3 years, he never talked to a single girl in his college. How frustrating. Yes. Alright. Now imagine after 3 years, he was asking himself, what have I done? After 3 years, I've not talked to a single girl. Come on. He was afraid. Right? So you understand that. It's fear. So when he joined his master's degree course, he decided something. So he said, alright, what I'll do now is, I'll go to my class and I'll speak to a girl. Simple? Okay. So he went on the first day of his master's class. He went to the university, entered the gate. He was even afraid to ask someone where the class was, where the classroom was. So he managed to get hold of a guy who looked a little different from the others. He did not have hair on his head, so he was bald. I mean, he had shaved off the hair on his head. He was wearing robes, orange colored robes. What I mean is, he was a Buddhist monk. Okay, in the university, he found a Buddhist monk. So he somehow mustered the courage to go up there and ask the Buddhist monk, can you please tell me where my class is? He said, I want to go to this class. So the Buddhist monk said, alright, I'll show you. Now this was the ground floor of the building. The Buddhist monk took him to the 4th floor, stood in front of the classroom, in front of the door and said, this is your classroom. Would you ever do something like that? Or will you simply say, well, turn right, go straight, walk 10 steps and you'll get the classroom. That's what we do, right? But this is what he faced. The Buddhist monk took him to the class. He stood in front of the class and his objective was, do you remember what his objective was? Alright, so he has to speak to a girl. So now he was looking inside the class and he was observing what's going on. So there was this first bench. For example, here I don't see anyone except him. So on the first bench, there were 5 girls. Or shall I say ladies? Alright, so we're talking about university. So there were 5 ladies. And the bench was filled, so there was no other space. And 2 rows behind that first row of ladies, there was one girl sitting alone on the side of the bench. So, people say focus. So he focused, he zoomed in on that girl. Okay, so this is my target. Alright, so I'm going to talk to her. Because there are 5 girls who are talking to each other and they seem to be friends. So I cannot go and risk trying to squeeze in, right? So I slowly walked in and he was walking towards that girl. What was going on inside his mind? Any idea what was happening to his heart? How did it sound? After that? Speed was increasing, so he went very slowly. As if, I'm very confident. That's the kind of body language he had. And he said, "Excuse me, if you could shift, I would like to sit here." So this was the girl's expression. This is what she did. She looked at the side, here and there, at the back, and then looked at him. The whole class was empty. Nobody else was there in the class. All the benches were empty. And she was going and saying, "Please shift, I want to sit here." But she was also afraid, equally afraid. First day of class, so she shifted and he sat down. I don't know if it has ever happened to you, but he sat down and he was thinking, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? Come on, you should be knowing. What's the next step? Ask her out for a date? What? Alright, I'm sorry, I heard something else. Okay, he said ask her name. Okay, so what he did was he first said my name, he introduced himself and he asked her name. She reluctantly said her name because she was not really interested. I mean, what kind of guy is this? But then they started talking to each other. You see, it starts off with the name and then which college are you from and what subject did you study and etc. etc. They started talking. In about 15 to 20 minutes the class had filled out. By then they had become friends and most importantly this boy had become very comfortable talking to her. And after 20 minutes he just stopped and looked around to see that the whole class was filled. The most interesting part about that class was there were 65 students in that class. And out of 65 students, 62 were female. What happened with fear? Alright, so you understand what I mean? And in the next few days, he became very comfortable talking to the girls. Right? So what did he do? What did he do? How did he get rid of the fear? Can you tell me? How did he get rid of the fear? What do you do when you are afraid? What does Mountain Dew tell you? You watch TV, you watch ads, I can understand that. I remember, I'm just adding something that happened to me. Quite a few years back, I was working in an IT organization. I was heading a department and I wanted to leave my job and I wanted to start my own business. What was the greatest fear you think I faced? Sorry? What's the greatest fear?
What to failure?
There were people in my family and I was the sole breadwinner, sole earning member. So what was my fear? Money is security. I already had security. If I leave that, I know what's going to happen. There was a fear. I remember when I had that fear, I remembered that boy. I said, well, if he could do something more difficult, why can't I simply start a business? The answer I got was, if you are afraid, the best way to deal with it is to confront it, face it. If I don't face my fears, I cannot get rid of it. So the first life lesson that I learned from this boy was this: conquer your fears. See, it sounds very simple. Try it. Especially those people who raise their hands saying, "I'm afraid to speak to girls." First thing you will do after you leave this room today is